Can you talk about getting out of long dry spells that followed a period of success? Okay, so the key part of this question for me is it followed a period of success. That means on some level, in some way, you know what the fuck you're doing, or at least you're able, or you should be able to get back to that period of success. So the first thing I would say is ask yourself, what was I doing then that I'm not doing now? Most of the time, the answer is you were probably going out more, you were probably taking more action, you probably had developed some level of abundance. So the way that I would recommend getting out of dry spells, which is also the way I recommend if you do ever move to a new city, getting massive momentum started in that city and getting getting your feet, with your feet running and just getting a ton of girls just on the go, is get a ton of numbers, whatever way that is. If you're good at online game, go online and get a ton of numbers online. If you're good at day game, go out and do like a 3-hour day game session and just get number. Go out night game, just get number. Because there's something that happens when you have just a phone full of female numbers and you're getting hit up all the time that it gives you that feeling of abundance. It gives you that sort of like that alphaness and that just like, it makes you act the part. It makes you feel like you're in that role of the guy who is getting laid, right? Also, to be fair, if you do want to just get numerical success, numbers is probably the easiest way, right? Going for the pulls, the most girls you can really pull in one night is 1, maybe 2 if you go back to the bar after a pull, right? But from numbers, if you get you can get 10 numbers in a night very easily, of which you can sleep with like 3 or 4 girls very, very easily, even if your phone game isn't that great. So, just filling the funnel, right? If you look at like game as a sales process, the best thing to do when things aren't going well is get more leads in the funnel. And so that's where I would really, really focus, is at that top of the funnel. And then of course, the other thing that I said is, what were you doing differently before? Were you before, building more comfort with the girl and now you're being more of a dickhead? Well, maybe go back to it, right? Even if you think that you need to be a little bit more of, even if you think that's a good adjustment for your game, if it's not working right now, go back to what was working and only then start implementing the new thing that should be working to get you to the next level. The other thing that I'll suggest, which may be a little bit of a controversial suggestion, is to lower your standards by about a 0.5 point or 1/4 point. Don't just throw your standards out the window, because that's fucking ridiculous, right? If you're normally sleeping with like 8s and you're in a dry spell, it's okay to pull a couple 7.5s and get that momentum going, get things going again. Because just the habit, the routine, the fact that you do have girls on the go, it makes a big deal, right? A big difference. What I notice with guys in dry spells is that they will get close and then they'll fuck it up. Like they'll get a girl back to their place, and then because they're like, oh, I'm finally gonna break the dry spell, or oh, I haven't done this in a while, they get too pushy, they get too needy, they're not patient, they don't just let the game come to them. Whereas if they have had some sex recently, they do let that happen, all right? So my major advice, and this is for getting out of dry spell, also for if you move to a new city and wanna just create abundance immediately, is fill the top of the funnel, right? Just get as many leads in as you can. Go out one day, don't even worry about closing, just get a shit ton of leads. Right, the first day that I was back at school, my second year doing pickup, it was all the freshmen came in. I went and got 18 phone numbers that day, which isn't that much nowadays, but that early in game, it was. And that actually was my social life and my dating life for like the next month, right? So just get something like that set up. Get the ball rolling. Don't worry about closing. Don't worry about the end. Trust that you've been there before, and trust that if you follow the process, it's inevitable you're gonna get the results you need. And by the way, side note, for those of you who have had a dry spell of a few years, or if you've had, a multi-decade dry spell from birth, my advice to you is still the same. Focus on getting more leads and focus on just developing momentum and getting to that next step. When I first learned game, I was bad at every part of game, right? But what I did is I got good at the first step first. I get good at approaching, getting numbers. And then because of that, I got a lot of practice at the next thing, which was turning numbers to dates. And when I got good at that, I got practice at the next thing, which is getting dates to escalation, getting dates back to my place. And then I got practice at the next thing, which is getting them from back to my place to sex. But the thing about game is you can't really work on like level 6 until you've done level 1. And so really, if you want to take practical action steps towards getting results, getting abundance, breaking a dry spell, any of that kind of stuff, really focus on the first step in the process and focus on generating more abundance and more leads. All right, so that's a bit about breaking dry spells, regardless of if you've done well in the past or if this has been a dry spell that's been very, very long, or even a forever dry spell, a lifetime dry spell called virginity. Whatever it is, that's a good answer for that. If you want your question answered, put it in the comments below and I'll be getting to them. Take care. See you soon.